So this is a hot topic around the country right now. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it. We'll cover as much as possible today, and obviously as questions arise, reach out to Dorsey and we can continue to get you some answers as well. So why are we changing refrigerants? When you look at non-vehicular HVAC refrigeration, it constitutes 66% of all HFC emissions. So it's quite substantial in this market. And then when you look at the HFC refrigerants specifically, those are ones that are often high global warming potential chemicals, or they include high global warming potential chemicals. So that was something that they found due to the emissions, the global warming potential. But the updates, really to get into more detail, the EPA passed what they're calling the technology transition rule. And this is limiting your refrigerant global warming potential to 700 at most for all residential and light commercial air conditioning and heat pump applications. You look at the table or the graphic on the right, our 410A that we use today has over a 2,000 GWP value. So well exceeding the threshold of that 700 set by that technology transition rule. And when you look at the common replacement, R454B is what we've seen the most of so far. R32 is certainly going to be a used refrigerant as well. Both of those are under that 700 GWP value. You can see 454B goes a little bit lower. Nonetheless, they both are under that threshold. The other thing to point out in that graphic is the safety classification. So we are moving into A2L safety classification territory, which means a mildly flammable refrigerant. So there are additional safety requirements that come with it, which we will discuss throughout. So manufacturing, what does this mean from a date? For us specifically, new 410A equipment cannot be manufactured after December 31st of this year. So we're about 7 months away or so that we have to start transitioning this over. And with that said, if you're still purchasing equipment today or laying out 410A equipment, the replacement components can be manufactured indefinitely. So similar to R22, still going to be able to replace those components in the field. And then there is some sell-through and installation requirements as well. So for new products, you actually have a 3-year sell-through window. So think about your kind of commodity rooftop type units. If they're manufactured and stocked before December 31st, they can sell those for a period of 3 years. So it's just all based off of the manufacturing date. And then any like new systems, so your split system designs that aren't considered finished until they're actually piped in the field, that is a 1-year sell-through, as long as they're manufactured before that December 31st date. So hopefully that clears up a little bit on that introduction. There's some deadlines here in this table. So one thing is, obviously when you look at the U.S. Climate Alliance states, there's some adoptions that already started to take place, specifically in those small residential type equipment that you see in the first product category. So the EPA deadline was January 1st, 2025, but California, Washington, for example, January 1st, 2023, they started to leverage the low GWP type refrigerants. Chillers, January 1st, 2025 for EPA, this January 1st, 2024 for the Climate Alliance states. We are in this other residential and light commercial AC. So January 1st, 2025, that's really that December 31st deadline that we talked about. And then a year later will be the VRF products, more of the indoor type equipment that you'll see. So those are some deadlines that we're working with right now. The question is, okay, I understand we have to do this, but how is it going to impact your day and your responsibilities? Well, first thing, there's new code requirements. So all the mechanical codes, the refrigeration codes, there's going to be updates and different requirements in certain situations. On top of that, there's additional installation considerations that have to be accounted for. So there's product safety standards. For example, we are transitioning to UL 60335, and that carries additional considerations from an installation standpoint. Additional design and coordination requirements, whether it's controls coordination, which we'll talk about. You might have to specify some certain design requirements for spaces that actually have refrigerant piping and systems within them. And then you might actually have to design mechanical ventilation systems where required as well. And then lastly, the most significant one is obviously there's legal ramifications from the EPA if you install systems after regulated dates. So that's a violation of the technology transition rule. Manufacturers are adhering to it, and then obviously the field would have to from that sell-through or installation date standpoint as well.